Hey, what's up? It's the DeadEndRoad Show, episode 43. Bill and Ian here. We're going to have a packed show. I feel like I keep saying that, and we've been recording some long sessions, but just a lot to get through. Trying some new things out, and just a lot to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Do we want to get started with some dead letters?
Of course.
Okay. And because what happens whenever I trot out this segment, like I plan to do the segment, and then I don't know if I'm being spied on or whatever, but then I just like get inundated with them whenever I plan to do the segment. So this one, we have gotten something similar before, but this one is even more concerning, I would say. This came to us from Amazing Human Hair at yeah.net. And so I think if you remember, we did get something about some human hair previously.
How could I forget?
This one was sent into the publishing email. Hello, my friend. You can get high-quality hair wigs from our factory directly. 100% virgin human hair. Huge stock. Fast delivery. You can reply me back to get price and pictures to check. Thanks, Sydney.
So the one detail there that sticks out is that this is not just any old hair. This is virgin human hair.
This is the hair of virgins. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, for the purposes of a wig, I'm not sure how that even matters. But
I don't know. Unless I was performing some sort of ritual, I don't see how that's going to come into play. I don't see why that's necessary.
I don't know of many rituals that require hair as an offering.
No, but so like the sacrifice of a virgin, you know, like
yeah, but you would need the entire virgin, right? You don't just want the hair.
I suppose, but you know, the times are tough. You know, if you can't get the whole virgin, you need a piece.
So right? What would you do in that case? Would you dress up a non-virgin with the virgin hair and try to pass as? Yeah.
You could do a Nightmare Alley. You know?
There you go.
you could. You know, you could try to do a spook show. You could get the. Yeah. So yeah. I was contacted about that this morning. Let's see. Where's this other one? This one's not very interesting except for the email address. This is from Justina Moms, and it's just telling me about a website, Blackstone Capital. I just like Justina Moms, and that's one word. This one, Jacob Wusff. That's not really a name.
How do you spell that?
It's Jacob and then WSFF.
Oh, yeah, no, you pronounced that pretty well.
And this is the website is asianonly.fans.
Oh.
So maybe an offshoot. And this one is Andrew. Kind of a running theme here. They kind of give up halfway through. And the website is just an IP address. And the comment they give you is 4D slot.
That's a lot of slots.
Yeah.
But wait, can we go back to the only.fans? Was there more content to that email?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there wasn't.
Bummer.
Yeah. Now, so what is the fourth dimension? Is it smell?
Excuse me?
Like, or is it time? You know?
No. Did you just take a hard left turn here? I don't know what you're talking about.
The comment on this from Andrew is 4D slot.
Oh, I thought it was 40, like 40.
No. 4D.
Oh, 4D. Okay.
So what is the fourth dimension? I think it's time, right? What is the fourth dimension? Okay, this is gonna get.
So is this just a fancy way of saying time slot? Like there's an open time slot for you?
Maybe. A four-dimensional space is a mathematical extension of the concept of three-dimensional spaces or 3D space. Three-dimensional space is the simplest possible abstraction of the observation that one only needs three numbers, called dimensions, to describe the sizes or locations of objects. This is just a weird 4D equivalent of a cube is known as a tesseract. Oh God!
I think we're venturing
information about a tesseract.
We're venturing very close to a Marvel Comics plot line here.
Sure, but the image here on the Wikipedia page for four-dimensional space showing what a tesseract is just a looping GIF that looks like a Windows 98 screensaver, where it's just kind of there's like a cube that's just like folding in on itself.
So is there no additional message here with this one either? This email?
No, 40 slot. Then the website is some kind of just an IP address.
Right.
And then let's see. Do I have this one was in Russian. And this is from Del Blake. Hello, UV boss. I will suggest raising positions in search engines by 10 to 20 points. Price is only 400 RU. What is that? Is that ruples? Quality X. Reporting. Site runs from professionalist. Vaunted bases. Contact. Okay.
Yeah, it's never been more clear that we need legitimate listener emails.
So hold on there. So I started running some advertisements for the show.
Over on the Facebook page?
So I tried to do one for the Facebook page. And Facebook rejected me. Now,
excuse me?
Facebook would not let me pay them money to run advertisements, and the reasoning was due to profanity. Well, they said profanity and grammar, but then they said more specifically the profanity. And I was very confused because I didn't use any profanity in the advertisement, and it was because the click-through. The link would send them to one of our episodes. And since we have a segment called No Fucking Thanks, which in the episode description, I explain that this episode has a No Fucking Thanks segment in it, that is profanity. And so they would not accept the advertisement. So Facebook would not allow me to give them money to advertise the show.
Which, like, when you consider Facebook's history of what they allow on their platform, that is incredible.
Yes. So I ran one on Twitter, and I did get one piece of feedback.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna name this person, but because they actually could be listening. I don't know.
That was exciting.
But they replied to the ad, and they said, "Hey, this is pretty good. Thanks for paying Twitter to put it in front of my eyeballs." Now, maybe this says something about me and my self-esteem, but I'm concerned that that's sarcastic.
I wouldn't be concerned. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, it is definitely sarcastic.
Yeah.
So when you did this, what does it show up as, like a sponsored tweet on some users' feeds? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, at least it reached somebody. Like, that we can verify that somebody saw it.
Yeah, no, I have the metrics of it reaching people.
Mm-hmm. It found a pair of eyeballs.
It did. But you would think if, like, they were, like, being sarcastic, like, oh yeah, thanks, you had to pay Twitter to get this to people, they would have been like, oh yeah, this is some shit, you know? I mean, you know what I mean?
The internet is full of advertising everywhere, so, like, why single us out? What did we do?
Right. So that's why I'm like, what is the percent chance that this is a genuine feedback from somebody that checked it out and said, hey, this is actually not bad?
I'd still say zero there. Yeah.
No, zero. Mm-hmm. It's zero.
It's just somebody thinking that they're funny, and it's like, haha, you paid money to get people to see this, which I still don't get why that's a bad thing, but okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, so there's that. Is that all the dead letters? I think that's all the dead letters I had. So yeah, that's dead letters for this week.
It's a step in the right direction, I think.
It's a step.
It's an actual human being.
And if I want to do any Facebook marketing, I have to not curse in the copy of the episode.
Well, you did say that you're kind of tired of the No Fucking Thanks segment, which I am as well. So if we move on from that, we might be able to go back on Facebook.
Yes. And hey, that's a fantastic segue into this week's No Fucking Thanks. All right. Yes, I'm quite tired of the segment. I would like to take a break from it because I'm rapidly running out of ways to say that NFTs are really stupid. So I would like to put it on the back burner for a while. It's just getting to a point where it's like there are so many of these dumb ideas and schemes and grifts that are happening, and it's kind of getting repetitive. But I felt that it was necessary to get this story in here, and then we can put this to rest for a bit, unless something absolutely insane happens. The NFT marketplace OpenSea They were hacked for a supposed $200 million of NFTs that were stolen from this service through an email phishing attack.
Now, Razzle Khan is in custody, right?
House arrest.
House arrest. I'm just trying to determine whether she's a suspect or they're a suspect in this situation.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to have any dealings with crypto anymore.
Oh, okay.
Is the stipulation for the house arrest? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So the email that got people was an email that said, "Hi there, you can now migrate your Ethereum listings to the new smart contract today, gas free. You have until 2 p.m. Eastern on Friday to migrate your list. At that time, any listings you haven't migrated will expire. All existing offers will also expire." And so then it's just you click on it, and then basically they steal your apes. Basically, OpenSea was like doing nothing about this. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we're investigating what happened" for days and days and days. And I still don't think that they have done anything about this.
Get your hands off my damn dirty apes.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that it's like the claiming of $200 million worth of NFTs that are stolen. That number might as well be zero because these are worthless. They're worthless. So you could claim any number for that. Right.
I mean, it makes for an interesting headline.
Of course. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, sucks to suck. The fact that they just got fished so easily. And it's like so easy to fucking scam these people. It's like really easy.
Yeah, I mean that's like the most basic form, right? Is phishing via like email and messages and stuff.
Yeah, like didn't even check to see if it was a legitimate email from the actual address or anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just very funny. So yeah, and with that we'll put no fucking thanks to rest for a little bit until something actually bad shit happens again. Yeah. Do we want to get into our movie this week?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a little bit less contentious than last week's movie discussion.
Yeah.
Because like last week, I mean, I don't think you've ever been more wrong about something on the show, and I don't expect that from you again this week. I think it'll be more of a reasonable take. So yeah, so we're talking Nightmare Alley this week.
Yeah. The latest Guillermo del Toro. With just a ridiculous cast.
Yeah, I actually didn't know beyond like the people on the poster basically, which is Bradley Cooper, Rooney Mara, Cate Blanchett, and I believe Toni Collette, right? Mm-hmm. But then like not even 10 minutes in, you have Willem Dafoe and you have Ron Perlman showing up, and it's like it's just an all-star cast.
Yeah, crazy. Then you have like the other dude from Mindhunter.
Yes.
Just like a bunch of other actors too. Like, yeah, just a ridiculous cast. So you do want to give like the quick and dirty plot rundown here? Yeah,
so Bradley Cooper, we're introduced to him. He sets a house on fire the very first scene and presumably buries a body. Well, not presumably. We see him bury the body underneath floorboards and sets the house on fire, and he takes a bus from there and is able to fall asleep on that bus very easily, which is the first thing that should really be a clue into this character. But yeah, so he ends up at this carnival where we spend a lot of time, and he sort of ingrains himself with the people working the carnival and becomes part of that community, and he sort of learns the tricks of the trade and builds himself up and develops a relationship with the character played by Rooney Mara, and eventually convinces her to go off with him and do their own act together. And from there, there's an encounter with a very interesting psychologist that he sort of has a working / twisted relationship with, and he sort of goes down a bad path, I'll say, with his new trade, which is mentalism, right? So he's pretending to be able to speak to the dead and give like fortune tellings and speak with past family members of people, and he's sort of like tricking them. He's putting on a spook show is how they describe it. But yeah, so this movie is a remake of a film from the 40s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I also thought it was very appropriate that this had a black and white theatrical release after its initial release, because especially like the back half of this movie felt so much like a classic Hollywood noir film.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it was
completely.
so true to that style that I almost would have preferred it to be in black and white if it wasn't so visually interesting with like the use of color, with like the costumes and everything going on. So yeah, like I thought this was a really, really good sort of ode to that that time in Hollywood, and it's just like a very riveting take from Guillermo. It's sort of I mean, it's in his wheelhouse, but it's also like shying away from the supernatural, which is something that he usually works with. Even though like the elements, like there are elements of that, like with the whole carnival thing and the, the mirror tricks and all that.
Yeah, it's a cult adjacent.
Yeah. So like it totally works within like the filmography of Guillermo, but it also is a bit refreshing. Yeah. So what did you think about this?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize it had like a black and white release. I think you would. I do agree. I think you would almost like lose something without color there too, because like Rooney Mara, like part of her character is like she's often dressed in red and like she stands out from crowds and the locations that she's in, and so I'm wondering how that would look in black and white, like what that would do for her character.
Yeah, because like especially when you first encounter that character, she's usually on the periphery of the scene when you're sort of navigating the carnival, and even though she's in the background, like she is a focal point because your eyes are drawn to her, and that is because of the visuals.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, I thought this was great. The performances were incredible. I really enjoy, like it is a noir film. It goes back to classic noir films, especially in that back half. But I do think that the beginning portion is still very much noir. Just like the way that they talk and like the way that it doesn't, it doesn't hold your hand like the way that like classic movies wouldn't, where it's like you're not quite sure like scene to scene how much time has passed, and it doesn't really like you have to infer based on like how relationships have progressed, how much time has passed and like how characters are relating to each other now, and things like that. So it definitely felt like a classic movie in that sense. But yeah, just like fantastic performances all around. I'm not the biggest Bradley Cooper fan. I've just never really enjoyed the things that I've seen him in all that much. I thought he was good here. Like basically you let him play an asshole, like it worked.
Yeah.
And you give him like a weird 40s pencil mustache. And make him kind of look like Ralph Fiennes, and it, and he can kind of like disappear into that a bit. So yeah, I think it all worked really, really well. But yeah, just like Cate Blanchett was, so good. Like she was born to play some kind of classic, like femme fatale role like that,
Completely,
like,
yeah.
Just yes, it was so good.
The moment that she first appears on screen, you have an idea about what that character is going to be just because of like her energy and just her presence, which is great.
Yeah, just like that mysterious aura, like yeah. It's really just a good noir film, like the way that it circles back on itself,
Yeah,
like,
I'm not gonna like spoil anything here, because I think it's pretty easy to talk about this one without getting into spoilers.
I think it is. Yeah,
but
I would not want to ruin this one.
It's funny. There is a sort of a twist of sorts that ends the film, and like you said, it circles back on itself. And I thought it was impressive that I was able to sort of. There was a moment early on in the film that I was like, oh, are they going to do that like is this character going to end up in that situation, right? Which ended up being the case, but then along the way, I forgot about that. So I basically figured out the ending and then sort of let it slip from my mind, and then was able to be surprised again by it, even though I predicted it earlier, which I think is impressive for a film to do that.
Yes. And I'm going to be speaking very generally here, so this is not going to make much sense to people that haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But like, in that conversation where they set that up, I figured that Bradley Cooper's character was going to employ that.
Oh, right? Okay.
Like
yeah.
That's what because he was like fishing for all that information. So that's what he was going to do. Not that, something was going to happen to him.
Oh, interesting.
So he was gathering all that information. I thought the movie was going was that like he was then going to become like the carnival leader master kind of thing. Like I thought that's the trajectory of the movie. Because that was like before he had brought it up to Rooney Mara that they're like, oh, we should get out of here, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And like, because that's like he was talking about, like, oh, I could do the Mentalist show, and like, oh, I could improve your electrocution act, and like all this other shit. I thought he was going to become the, like the carnival master. Like he was going to start bumping people off and become the carnival leader kind of thing.
Yeah. The movie about an hour in does take a turn.
Yeah.
And I was actually for a brief time, because it did reel me back in pretty quickly, but for a brief time I was a little bit let down by that, because I really enjoyed what was going on at the carnival and all the characters that are involved there. And I did feel like it sort of lost a bit of momentum for a little while in that middle section. But then it reeled me back in pretty well. Once you start to see like the character arc that's coming for Bradley Cooper's character here, like the direction that's going.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like it's a classic setup too. It's like this character has greed and ambitions, and thinks he's on top of the world, and he's destined for a fall. Right?
Oh, like, yeah, it's a well-worn type of story.
Yeah, and like this would not be like out of place as like a Twilight Zone episode, or something like that. Like it's just and it's just executed so well. The performances are so good. It's visually fantastic. Yeah, it's just a really good movie. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of... Well, I thought before the Oscar nominations came out that it was flying under the radar, but then it got a Best Picture nom, so I guess people are watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is really cool, because it's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's like, I'll watch anything he makes. So,
oh, for sure.
But yeah, like that cast is just... ridiculous. That's a ridiculous cast. Like,
yeah, it's also a perfect role for...
Like, Willem Dafoe's here. It's like, oh, of course he is. Of course he's a car.
I was going to say, perfect role for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And I hadn't seen Ron Perlman in anything recently, so that was cool to see him show up too.
No, yeah, I probably last saw him in a Del Toro movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Rooney Mara's fantastic and everything, like she could read the fucking phone book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God.
Also, the makeup that, like the costume that she's in for a very crucial scene towards the end, it was just so good.
Yeah.
So good in what it's doing. Yeah, like I won't get into the details there because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, that was really great. I think I don't know if this movie's up for any of the like makeup awards, but it definitely should be.
Yeah, it should. But that scene where Bradley Cooper asks the guy, he's like, well, what did you do? It's like, oh God in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then just the backdrop of everything, whenever Willem Dafoe's like, it's like, the short guy looks like Charlie Chaplin. He just invaded Poland. It's like, Jesus, man.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, just a good movie. People should watch it. It's on Hulu.
Yeah, and HBO Max as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna suggest, if you want to do another film next week, Drive My Car is coming out.
Oh, is that the Murakami?
That is the Murakami short story adaptation.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe, I want to say March 2nd, which will be out by the time we record, and of course by the time the next week's episode is out for sure. So
yeah. I'm wondering if I should read the story.
Oh, interesting.
As well.
That might be worthwhile. I might consider that as well.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a plan then.
Cool.
Okay. Do we want to get into some bullshit?
I mean, what else do we do?
All right, so let's fucking do it. All right. Did it all for the Moogle. I got some fucking JRPG shit to talk about. So last week, Square Enix held the live letter for Final Fantasy XIV, talking about the next 10 years of Final Fantasy XIV, because the new expansion just came out, and it's sort of, there have been 11 years of Final Fantasy XIV and like 10 years of A Realm Reborn. And so they're looking at the next 10 years of the game. So they held a big presentation for this. And going into this, we all kind of had basically no idea what they were going to talk about at all, which is pretty strange because normally we know their patch cycles, and we know like the content release and like what everything is going to contain, even like what the presentations are going to contain. Like they say ahead of time what they're going to talk about, like to a T. So like we know what to expect pretty much all the time.
Right.
And this is a big exception where we had basically no idea. And so much so that people were still confused and thought that this was the presentation for the next patch still. So this was just like this big thing. And what they covered for the most part, they talked about having the first graphical overhaul of the game that they've ever done, and how they're going to be preparing that for the next expansion for 7.0, which won't be for like another year and a half now. Well, I guess a little more than that, but
is it usually that kind of that long in between?
2 years between expansions.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they're prepping for that. An interesting thing was that they are not abandoning PlayStation 4 support for the game for at least the next expansion, which I thought they might.
I mean, that makes sense though, right? Because it's still hard to get next-gen consoles, and the PS4 has such a large player base.
Yes, which was the reasons that they gave. Yeah. Was basically that it's hard to get a PS5.
Like if I wanted to jump into this game now, that would be my only option.
Right, yeah, because it's not on Xbox, and
I don't have a good enough PC for it, so...
Yeah, exactly. And so they showed some screenshots of their graphical update testing, and they said that they're basically only a month into doing testing for this. Mm-hmm. And usually they don't let us in on stuff that is this early. So that was pretty surprising that they're even talking about this. To me, I get the sense that they're pretty excited about it. The fact that they're showing anything this early. So they're updating character models, improved lighting, textures, blah, 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 blah. And they're also going to try to optimize PlayStation, which is something that they really haven't done before, to try to improve frame rates and make it run better, and also be able to handle these updated graphics, which would be very welcome, because basically the PS4 is what's holding things back, even though they won't say that. But I mean, it is, right? Because it's going to be 10-year-old hardware coming up. So that's pretty cool. They also talked about plans for future content and content that's coming in this expansion. And one thing that's a bummer is that they're adjusting the future patch cycles. And so what happens now is that we get a major patch every 3.5 months. And so now we're going to get a major patch every 4 months. And this kind of sucks because as it is right now, the game has huge content lulls very frequently. And like the expansion just came out in December and there's already nothing to do. Like there hasn't been anything to do for like over a month. And so now those droughts are only going to get longer. And like they explained, it's only going to be 2 weeks of an extension, but that's still a longer wait. And of course, I think there's going to be delays with that. It's just frustrating, especially because for the most part, they have pared away a lot of basic content for... I'm not going to say like temporary or unnecessary things, but the resources are being diverted away from, I would say, like evergreen content for things that don't impact long-term players. And what I mean by that is like their big push for this thing was that like their goal for the future 10 years was to make the game more soloable.
I saw that sort of like statement coming out of this, and that sounded interesting to me.
Yes. So what they're going to be doing and implementing currently, like in between the patches for this expansion, all the way up until the next expansion and through the next expansion, are making all of the story dungeons from the A Realm Reborn and the old expansions able to be like done solo. And so it's currently called the Trust System, and so it basically means you go in with an NPC party.
Oh.
And because they implemented a system like this for Shadowbringers, the previous expansion, and they implemented it for Endwalker, the current expansion. And so they're retrofitting this system for the old dungeons. And on the one hand, this is nice because this allows people that wouldn't normally play MMOs and would like to play a numbered Final Fantasy able to play the game, play the story. On the other hand, this is diverting a lot of resources away from making new content.
Yeah, because you've already experienced all this stuff.
Yes, and it's putting a focus on old content that is still able to be played. And they're kind of reworking some of this old content that if you've played the game for even a few months, you're already sick of those old dungeons that you get in a roulette. Mm-hmm. The one nice thing is that there are two what we call MSQ roulette dungeons that everybody fucking hates because they're like, they each take an hour long each, and they made it so you can't skip any of the cutscenes.
Oh, that's not great.
Yes, because previously you could skip the cutscenes. So if somebody was new and they wanted to see the cutscenes, everybody would finish the dungeon by the time they would even be out of the first cutscene. And so they said, oh, well, this isn't fair, so now you can't skip the cutscenes.
Wow.
And so then nobody would queue for them, so then they increased the rewards for people to do it, so you would get you get a ton of XP for doing these dungeons. So now they're reworking those completely. Now they're, instead of being, they're the only 8-person dungeons in the game. They're the only ones. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to change them completely to be 4-person dungeons. And now the MSQ roulette that gives a ton of XP it's not going to exist anymore. I say thank God. I don't do that. To me, it's a waste of time. I don't even care that it gives so much XP. I hate sitting through that shit. So there's good things about this, but I feel like it's prioritizing like enticing new players that might not stick around when the game is already more popular than it's ever been.
Yeah, it just like absolutely exploded last year in popularity.
And so this is like laying the foundation for eventually putting the game into maintenance mode whenever it's not going to be updated anymore. They're not admitting that, but that's what the truth is, because that's what happened with Final Fantasy XI.
Well, isn't it kind of weird to have that going on and then also announce like the next 10 years?
To me, it is.
Yeah. Seems a little like contradictory.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's what they said. Like they wanted one of their goals to be for the next 10 years is to make the game a great RPG experience, solo or with friends. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, all right. Like I can understand. I think that the trusts were very popular. And I'm sure they have data for that. But like I use the trusts the first time I go through the story, and then that's pretty much it, because the trusts are designed to be slower than going through with real people. Like they do less damage. They just take slower. They walk slower. The whole thing. It just takes longer to do the dungeons. Sure. So I see the point, but I'm of two minds of it. I do think it's kind of a waste, and the fact that they were going through the patch, like what the content of the patches for this expansion and what's going to be in it, and like they're saying which dungeons are going to get support for this, like as if it's like actual content in the patch, mm-hmm. you know? Yeah. And it's like this isn't content. This isn't anything new. This is just like system updates that you're doing in the background that are kind of taking away from like new shit to do. And now you're taking longer in between patches so you can do this shit. And it's like the graphical update I'm all for. That's something that benefits absolutely everybody. That's a no-brainer.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I feel like it's a waste, and I feel like that is something that can wait until the game is in maintenance mode. And it feels like it's something to draw in more of an audience when they don't need to draw in more of an audience right now.
Yeah, the game literally just became available again for free trials, right? Because it was so overwhelmed.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, like there's going to be some other interesting content. There's like going to be a new dungeon system that's supposed to be like some kind of challenging dungeon system that you can do solo or up to 4 people, that is different from a different like dungeon system than we've had previously. They didn't give any details about that. We're getting a second ultimate difficulty raid, which we didn't think we were going to get. So there's that. It's just, I feel like they can do more now, especially that they have like the ridiculous like sales numbers and sub numbers that are coming in. So hopefully 7.0 now we can like scale up the like actual content in the game rather than, just kind of doling things out like just piecemeal.
Right.
Because it's like 4 months. Like you can do all the patch content in a week and then you have nothing to do for 4 months. Because so there's the raid, and then once you're done with the raid, you don't see the 6.0 raid, and then you don't get another raid until 6.2. So the patch we're looking forward to right now is 6.1, and that's not happening until April. So 4 months from April is what? May, June, July, August. So the next raid won't be until August at the earliest. So that's like, other than that, all the other patch content you can do in like a week. Like the only evergreen content is battle content, and they're doing less and less of it.
Well, this is interesting. Because you posed the question in the show notes of how many MMOs is too many.
Yes.
Which makes me think that your sort of dissatisfaction with the current state of this game has led you elsewhere.
Yes. So I've told you this, and I don't know if I mentioned on the show, but so I picked up playing old school RuneScape again. Originally, whenever Final Fantasy had queues going on for the expansion launch.
Right. I actually thought you were going to say Lost Ark, because that seems to be what everybody's playing right now.
We can get there.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So
my bad.
So I started playing old school RuneScape originally whenever I was stuck in queue for Final Fantasy 14, and I could just AFK something while monitoring my queue. Then old school RuneScape came out with the Leagues, which was a temporary game mode where EXP rates were increased by a ridiculous amount, and they had this cool I forget it's not with a rune system, but it's like you get drops that like give you perks basically, and it just really mixed up the gameplay, and it was pretty fun. But that's a temporary game mode, right? And I've kind of fallen off of that while some other games are coming out and things like that. Then Lost Ark comes out. I originally had like no interest in it. Mostly because I thought it was like a weird Diablo clone where you like pick a character and then you're stuck with that character. I didn't understand that it was a full MMO. And also I didn't think that it had controller support. Then some of my raid group was trying it out, and they were trying to be like, oh yeah, are you going to try it? I'm like, no, I don't really think so. Doesn't look like my kind of game. And then I found out that it like Lost Ark is incredibly, incredibly pay to win. Like you can just pay money and get the raid gear and skip like all the content for the raids basically. And it's like, that sounds really lame to me.
Sure. Yeah.
But then I found out it does have controller support. So I'm like, well, okay.
That's all you needed.
Basically.
Yeah.
So then I downloaded it, and then I let it sit for a couple weeks. And then those raid people asked again if I was going to try it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, all right. So last weekend, I tried it. It's okay. The combat is fun. The controller controls are absolutely dog shit. Absolutely dog shit. They totally did not make it with controller in mind whatsoever. Which is the complete opposite of 14, where they made a controller scheme that not only works but is just as functional as keyboard and mouse. That is not the case with Lost Ark.
So I know this game is like made by Amazon, right?
No, it is published by Amazon.
Published by Amazon. Where are you actually playing it though? Is it on like Steam,
it's on
or
Steam.
is it on like there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's originally a Korean game. And Korean MMOs are known for being incredibly grindy and incredibly pay to win to get away from the grind. Amazon has apparently lessened some of the grind, but it is still an extremely grindy pay to win game. And so basically what it boils down to is if I was to play that with any degree of seriousness, I would have to switch to keyboard and mouse, just because the controls are so bad. Because even though like you're moving, like, because otherwise it's like click to move, and I fucking hate click to move games. It's just too much clicking. I hate it. Like, and so like with a controller, you get to move with the left stick, but you still have to move a cursor with the right stick instead of it being an actual like they should have just basically stolen Diablo 3's control scheme, and they didn't do that. Because Diablo 3 controls better with a controller than it does with keyboard and mouse. And I can say that because I used to play Diablo 3 with a keyboard and mouse. But yeah, no, it's really bad on controller. And like, cause you still have to click things with the controller instead of like just like pressing X to interact with things. And sometimes it changes which, like you can either left click or right click, but like depending on what you're interacting with, you have to change which one you click with. And there's no rhyme or reason whether something is a right click interact or a left click interact. And basically every menu is unusable with the controller. You have to use a mouse. Like, so I have to like take my hand off the controller and open the menu with the mouse anyway.
That's no good.
So it's like I should just play with this with keyboard and mouse. So yeah, it's unusable with keyboard and mouse, or I mean controller. But the combat's pretty fun. In the early going, you're basically just like speedrunning quests. There are a few dungeons. The dungeons are pretty fun. You get some flashy abilities. Classes are gender locked, which I think is really stupid. I don't know why that's a thing. So like I'm playing,
what do you mean by that?
So like if you're playing a female character, you only have access to certain classes. If you're playing a male character, you only have access to a different set of classes.
I don't know if I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's really dumb. So like I wanted to play mage, and mages are only female. Which I don't have a problem with. I play a female character in 14. I just think that it's dumb that like a female character can't play like the warrior or whatever class.
I think we should get rid of the gender binary and all create a class modes or character modes.
Yeah. But it's like such a holdover from, you know, this being a Korean game from like 7 years ago, right? Like,
Is it?
Like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like Amazon didn't change any of the gameplay. Like they just lessened the grind to some stuff apparently. Other than that, it's just they just published this game now. But people are kind of starved for MMO-ish gameplay. And so like the early going is just like nothing but turning in quests. I was skipping the story. The story is apparently terrible, like just like nonsensical fantasy bullshit. The graphics are okay, but I don't know if it like as you get higher level if it changes, but you just like spam all your abilities like on cooldown. There's not really much thought to it, and that's fine. It's kind of fun to just like blow shit up. Like so, I'm playing sorceress, and so I'm just like blowing shit up. It's kind of fun, you know. So like I don't think it would be bad for like casual, you know, just like fucking around every so often. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like people are going like way too hard on it, you know, because like they're gonna hit a wall where like they have to pay to win, especially if they want to do the raid content. And I've seen gameplay of the raids. The raids look pretty cool. They look kind of similar to 14 raids, but it's apparently extremely pay to win. So like unless you get the drops you want, like you're locked out for that week and cannot do the raids or any of the high level content, or you could pay to win and then you can do the raids. Like it's like that bad, and that's not fun. That's exploitative.
Sure.
So
of course.
So yeah, I generally don't know if I'll even have the time to play it again, and I don't really know if I have that much of a desire to play it again. Like if somebody's like, hey, you know, we're gonna hop on, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, you know, like I got an hour or two to burn. Like, but other than that, you know, I don't really have that draw to it.
Yeah, it was a well-timed release to get those Final Fantasy players with nothing to do.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. And Amazon is just kind of lucky as shit. Like, I don't know how long it's going to last, but like they're lucky that their other game like died immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then like I have like, you know, like this lack all of a sudden, and then the Destiny 2 expansion came out, and I'm like, should I pick that up? Should I pick that up instead? You know, it's like I don't know if I could do that. I don't know.
I took a chance on a video game this week. I purchased Elden Ring. Yeah, and for, you know, I've told you this, I am really bad at those like Soulsborne From Software games. Yeah. I've never really gotten too deep into one of them because I've just been very frustrated after like a few hours. But this looks so cool, you know? Yeah. So I bought it sort of impulsively, and it just came out today. So I've only played a little while before we started recording today. But I want to give it a real chance because the open world stuff looks amazing.
Yeah. My copy is coming some point today.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and really stick with it, and maybe hopefully next week I'll have something to say about it.
Yeah. My feelings about Souls games is I find the Souls ones to be really clunky, but I fucking love Bloodborne so much.
Well, mechanically, this feels very much like Bloodborne so far. Yes. From what I've played of Bloodborne. Okay. It's very, very responsive and fast.
Okay. Yeah. I fucking love Bloodborne so much.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed there.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But time will tell, though.
Because I picked up Demon Souls whenever I got the PS5.
Right.
You know, just paid that $70 disappointment because I knew I wouldn't get far, because that's just Dark Souls but older, so it's going to be more clunky.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's the best looking game I've ever seen. Like bar none. Graphically that's the best looking game I've ever played. But I'm really bad at it. I don't like using shields. It feels so clunky. Like, that game doesn't even have like plunging attacks, like whenever you drop off a cliff onto an enemy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just really. So then I looked up like guides, and it's like, oh yeah, how to get overpowered early. And so like there's a cheese strat for the first area where you basically lure this like mini boss guy that doesn't even have like a boss health bar. You're not supposed to fight him until the end of the game, and you're supposed to lure him like to a cliff, and you keep punching him. You have to lure him a set distance to where his aggro range stops and he doesn't attack you. And you have to keep punching him until you knock him over a cliff, and then he dies. And then he drops like the best armor and weapon in the game.
Oh man.
And so I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I can do this, and then I'll like can one-shot things, and then I can just kind of like
experience the world.
Just experience the game, see some shit, you know. Maybe I won't even finish, but like I'll just see more of the game than I normally would have. And I can't do it. I can't do the cheese. I can't, like, I finally got it to a point where I can get him far enough to where he doesn't attack me. But then I keep punching him, and then he just walks around me. And so then like I try to get in front of him to block him from walking back, and like he's just too quick, and I keep hitting him, and then I just can't, and then he resets, and then he kills me. So like
See, I
can't do it.
This is
like,
so frustrating.
The cheese is harder than just playing the game.
This is so frustrating because it's like this could be solved by just having like an accessibility option with like an easy mode. And it like wouldn't take away from the main experience, because you can just ignore that completely. You know, like I've never understood that. Like I know the appeal of these games is that they're difficult and they're skill based and all that, but it's like, why not have that other option for people that want that?
It's like, you could even disable my trophies. Like I don't earn trophies for the bosses I kill or whatever, but it's like, I'd like to see more of the game. You know, and like I made it pretty far whenever I originally played Dark Souls on the 360, right? I just didn't like the gameplay. I just find it really, really clunky. And it wasn't responsive on the 360. But man, do I fucking love Bloodborne.
I have sort of a basic question that really shows my lack of knowledge about this whole the From Software series. So any of the previous games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, did they have like magic abilities and stuff where you can like wield like, I don't know, incantations and stuff?
Souls games definitely do. Bloodborne is slightly more complicated where yes, but they're more esoteric and not as straightforward as the Souls games where you just like cast spells.
Yeah, because that's the direction I'm going in. I chose the astrologer class in Elden Ring because it sounded really cool, and so I think I'm gonna really focus on the magic side of things because that seems really fun.
Yeah, because that's what I did for Demon Souls because it's apparently like overpowered in Demon Souls. I didn't get to that part where it gets overpowered.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, because like in Dark Souls you can start as like a pyromancer and then you have fire magic like immediately. Yeah, so I'll have to see where I get with this. I feel like the open world is going to be a benefit for me because it's like if I get stuck at a boss in like Bloodborne or whatever, I have really no choice but to just keep trying. But if I get stuck somewhere like on a quest in this game, well, I can just like go in a different direction. Right.
And try something else and maybe build up my character and come back later on.
Yeah.
So that might be a big difference maker for me.
I mean, that's the only thing with Bloodborne and Souls is rather than like going to explore the open world, you just kind of grind on a set path of enemies.
Yeah, the same ones over and over, right?
Yeah, that's what you can do to sort of overcome some shit. But I never found the need to do that in Bloodborne. Souls, I always felt like I was hitting a wall. But yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on that.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I do have one more thing I wanted to bring up while we're in the Weeb segment. So Atlas and this week announced Soul Hackers 2, and this is a sequel to the Sega Saturn game Devil Summoner Soul Hackers from 1997.
It really doesn't get more niche than this here, right? I mean,
it's coming to both PlayStations, all the Xboxes, and PC, and it's coming out in August. And I think I might have caused this. Or at least helped.
Okay.
I might have helped. Because Atlas does like yearly surveys and shit that you can do. And for years, I have been putting on my survey to please bring back Soul Hackers.
That's great.
So I may have helped cause this. Because Soul Hackers is Cyberpunk SMT.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is. It is so fucking cool. And the one that came out, the original one was in 97, so it was 90s Cyberpunk SMT. And the world is so cool. The story was so cool. Because there was a 3DS remake that came out in 2013. It's one of my favorite SMT games. The combat wasn't very good because it was before they developed the press turn system, so it's just kind of standard turn-based combat. But the world is so cool. The characters are cool. Just the whole vibe of it. You're living in this, 90s future cyberpunk city. But then you have the SMT demons and shit. And there's a virtual Matrix world, it's just really cool. And this one's coming to PS5. It's like, yes, fucking, like they did this few day teaser campaign thing. And I'm thinking it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna tease this for, a few months and then say it's coming out next year, right? But no, this kind of came out of nowhere and it's coming out in August. So yeah, I feel very alive.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like Xbox has sort of is sort of behind when it comes to Japanese titles. Like there just aren't as many on that platform as like PlayStation.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising it's coming to Xbox. I think it's more surprising that it's not coming to Switch.
Yeah,
but the art looks really good. It's got this cool cell shaded vibe to it. So it's unique. It doesn't look like SMT5. It doesn't look like Persona. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait. Hopefully there's going to be a collector's edition because I'll just give Atlas more of my fucking money. But yeah, it looks really cool. Oh, there's a female protagonist, which hasn't been the case in a mainline SMT since If, and that was a choice, and that game was never localized. So yeah, this might be the first female protagonist since Persona 2.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, it looks so cool. Yeah, I'm so excited for that. So yeah, that's Soul Hackers.
Yeah, that's exciting. Sounds great.
Okay. So previously we had a little segment that the working title was something like "What Stupid Shit Is Bill Fascinated By?"
Mm-hmm.
And so I've reworked that a little bit. And right now I'm calling it. Let's see here. Hold on. Mountains of Madness.
I thought the Undertaker had invaded our podcast for a second there.
Is it too dramatic?
No, I think it's appropriate.
Okay. Trying to up the production quality just a little bit.
So that the voiceover, you just did that in real time.
Yes, I did.
That wasn't recorded.
No,
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm trying to finally use all my buttons.
Nice.
So like you could say that this podcast is sort of a real-time look and a charting of my descent into schizophrenia, you know? As we've seen in some of my other ramblings about C.G. Young and, you know.
Yeah,
whatever.
and I'm just a spectator to this whole downfall.
You know, just the whole it's like watching a very slow car crash, right? So I found this guy on Twitter that says that The Legend of Zelda mirrors the Sephiroth in the Path of the Tarot.
And you're like, can we be best friends?
Well, first of all, I was like, oh, what is this crazy shit? Then I started reading it. Okay.
Oh, no.
So this is from a user by the name of Mark Vallon on Twitter. Please don't bother him, but you might want to check out his work. And he says, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an exegesis of archetypes in history, following the illumination of the spirit through a series of hermetic rituals that harmonize and revivify both micro and macrocosm. Tarot configurations on the Tree of Life will help decipher the story. The number of correspondences will suggest the people who wrote the story and worked on the game were very familiar with perennial philosophy. And then he has a photograph of the Tree of Life and then tarot cards arranged around it. And I don't quite see the connection yet.
Okay.
And then he also includes just 2 tarot cards. I'm not sure which ones these are because they're in Latin. I don't know what. Okay. Syncretic hermeneutics allow one to unveil and contextualize the symbolic portrayal of the tripartite forces. Zelda, the reincarnation of Hylia, embodies the principle of wisdom. Pistis Sophia, the supernal triad, crown, wisdom, and understanding must be redeemed to save Hyrule. The image of priestess and empress correspond with their position on the Tree of Life in paths 13 and 14 respectively. We can see the light of the goddess/princess reflected upon the surface of the waters above. Passing through the door, she ascends via Dot. Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. So, okay. So the main, this is, I'm stopped reading right now because the main playable area in SMT5 is called Dot. Okay. So this might be, and also the character that does your demon fusion is called Sophia, which is the a Gnostic character basically, and is the Greek word for wisdom, or usually wisdom. All right, so then I'm going to continue here. The third Sephira, Bina/understanding, is a symbol of the matron. She is a dark, sterile mother, and the bright, fertile mother, Mara, the great sea embodied by the Vesica Piscis and the chalice. Priestess of the silver star, she is Gimel, traveling across the abyss. Zelda, whose name begins with the last letter of the alphabet and ends with the first, is the mother who initiates the cycle of birth and death. She represents the sacred magic that spirit aspires toward. Ishtar, Demeter, the well and the door from which creative nature flows. Ganon is representative of Yaldabaoth, the demiurge Abraxas who guards Sophia. He embodies the Triforce of power. Din's fire is the primordial emanation in this sign. Okay.
See, I'm just tempted to be like, it's not that deep, bro.
The problem here, like, I can't speak the Zelda shit, right? I don't know the lore. I don't know the whatever.
I mean, playing Breath of the Wild made me think there wasn't much lore, but I might get in trouble for saying
so. Yaldabaoth is the antagonist of Persona 5.
Uh-huh.
Because that is the Gnostic creator god, who is actually the false god, who is a deceiver and trickster, who we usually know as the god of the Bible. But that is not the true like monad or the one god, the actual ineffable one. So this thread, even though it sounds like the ravings of a lunatic, is hitting.
I'm glad you're acknowledging that.
It's hitting home for me.
Okay.
Because this is essentially what part of my persona analysis is, but like he's not really explaining anything. He's just kind of saying shit. And he continues. The king is dead and the sun is set.
Oh no.
Gabura, the reflected emanation of the Saturnine Binah, is the god of war and disorder. The typhonic beast is lord of the red land. He is the catabolic force, the active pharmakos, and God's judgment upon the kingdom. This manifestation takes on many qualities of Ahriman / Angra Mainyu, which is, I forget, Ahriman is basically a, shit. I could like pull up my notes.
Oh, Christ.
Is like an ancient, like form of the devil, I think. Matter comes to dominate spirit. Blight spreads over the elements and comes to possess the technique of the kingdom. Anthroposophy describes it as science-oriented, hereditary, and materialist. Here we can see the similarities to Urizen, the geometer of the world. Okay, Urizen is, isn't that the fucking Blake shit?
Don't ask me any questions in this segment. I have no idea. By the way, how many...
Yes, in the mythology of William Blake, Urizen is the embodiment of conventional reason and law. He's usually depicted as a bearded old man. He sometimes bears architect's tools to create and constrain the universe.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. But how many tweets... Like, this is a Twitter thread? Mm-hmm, how many tweets deep are we here?
About half. Here we see the similes to Urizen, the geometer of the world. Ganon adopts the Lovecraftian arachnid from ensnaring and controlling the kingdom. The emphasis on the Pillar of Severity in Saturn's harvest with destruction works in lockstep. Kamail, the burner god and the guardian to Eden, is assigned to Gabura. The throat chakra and the martial symbol of the sword are used to expel the couple from the garden. The world is carved into pieces and sinks beneath the water's surface. Exhalation of breath. But something stirs at the nadir of this antithetical movement. A spiritual awakening seeks to link and unify the worlds. With enough courage,
I heard link in there.
Yeah, he capitalized it too.
Oh.
The pillars of severity and mercy can be balanced, and the three triads reintegrated. The sun begins to rise. The breath of the wild begins to blow across the kingdom to cleanse and liberate it. Yeah. From a corrupted, domineering, and destructive force. This act of respiration resurrects the macrocosm, and he has a picture of Jesus here. I don't get the connection, actually. Before he can confront and exorcise the blight plaguing his country, Link must conquer the elements of the four corners of Hyrule. To bolster his spirit and light up the kingdom, he must travel to above, to survey the land and below, to test himself and integrate the magical triangle. Of course. The world must be brought back into spiritual harmony. The Hierophant, 5th card of the tarot, emphasizes this process. Both depictions offer a plenitude of emblematic insights. The Resurrection Chamber of Link and Ganon's Heart of Darkness in the Throne Room validate this portrayal. Severity stimulates prayer, and it is mercy which blesses. Red blood bears the vivifying benediction of oxygen. Blue blood rids the organism of the severity of carbonic acid. Okay, maybe I'll scroll down. After filling 13 hearts, Link attains a level of mastery. The sword is the 14th piece that wards off death and breathes life back into the kingdom. Illuminated, he is ready to face his adversary in bestial nature. Wisdom, power, and courage intersect as they have over the ages. Existence is corrupted by power and desire, but requires a pure heart, spiritual enlightenment, and fortitude to bring the balance back. The world is purified within and without. Okay.
That's
kind of how it ends.
I mean, it's a children's video game.
So this frightens me.
Yeah, it frightens me too. Maybe for a different reason.
No, it frightens me in that I'm worried that I will become this.
Oh, I see.
Because this is too close to home.
You've got that unpublished Persona piece that nobody is seen.
Yes. And the problem is that, well, this dude doesn't explain anything. He thinks he's like making grand statements or something, but it's unintelligible.
Do we think that the Twitter thread was the proper medium for this think piece here, or whatever you want to call it?
I mean, if he put it into paragraphs, I don't think it would have helped.
Okay.
What are the replies like? Let's see. I love Twitter schizophrenia. I joke, quote, retweeted this, but this is dope. Twitter fucking rules. Please repent from the works of darkness and go to the Lord Jesus, Father and Son and Holy Spirit, the awesome master of the universe who was rejected by these builders. Cool. Yeah, so this worries me because because I don't want to become this, like a raving lunatic, you know? And I feel like I'm a bad day away from just saying that you know, that like if I finally publish that article and like I look like this.
Well, okay, so for one, and now I haven't read it, but I do know your writing style, and I think you are much you have stronger writing capabilities. So on that end, I think it'll be, you know, easier to comprehend, and I do think that you're dealing with, you know, no offense to Zelda or any of that. It's a very successful franchise and all that. I think you're dealing with a richer text. Yes. And I think the parallels that you're drawing and the inspirations and all that, they make more sense, at least to me, somebody who generally has no idea what is going on here. So I don't think you're reaching this point.
Yeah, the Persona literally name drops Yaldabaoth. Like he's drawing parallels to these concepts,
right?
Whereas Persona directly deals with them.
Yeah, you're talking about where this stuff derives from, where the inspiration for the characters and the, you know, the names and all that came from. So
I do at one point I do call Morgana the cat a Christ figure.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I do back it up, but okay, here's another thing that scares me.
I would worship Morgana.
Yeah. Here's another thing that scares me. This guy's profile, his description, it says, finding signal in the noise. Now, if you remember a few weeks ago, I had something in the show notes about something that I called the Signal to Noise Project.
Oh, no.
So, I don't know what to make of that quite.
Is there a case to be made for maybe taking a step back from the close reading of these video games and maybe just sort of enjoying them for what they are on the you know, what's presented?
Yeah, I mean, that's what most people do.
Yeah, it's what most people do.
Yeah, but my issue, and the reason why I was originally doing all this fucking bizarro occultic research for the piece, was that I thought that people were saying that Persona 5's story was dog shit. Mm-hmm. And I think it's genius.
So you're defending a take, whereas this person is just seemingly out of nowhere come up with all these these parallels, unprovoked.
Their pinned tweet. Okay, I didn't read this before. Their pinned tweet: Death Stranding is a metacognitive programming allegory about the death and rebirth of America seen through a Gnostic lens. USA liquidation and financial offshoring has led to hashtag Build Back Better smart cities administered by private contractors using NatSec blockchain platforms. Thread. What the fuck?
Yeah, you're not there yet.
I feel like I'm just an aneurysm away.
I mean, I can try and let you know if you sort of breach the threshold here.
Yeah. Oh shit. There's Epstein.
Oh god. Should we move on?
And then there's fucking.
I've got some TikToks. I've got some TikToks that I want to show.
The Walking Dead. Who's that dude? Who's that idiot?
What, Andrew Lincoln?
No. The one from Death Stranding.
Norman Reedus. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't.
I think we should move on.
Oh my god, there's something about Amelie. What the fuck?
The French film?
Amelie is the Scarlet Woman of Babylon whose herald is death. She raises a new bridge for humanity, not unlike the Star Child of the Space Odyssey.
Wait, are we thinking of the same thing here? Are you talking about the film, right?
I assume.
Yeah, no, this person's just making stuff
And there's
up.
Guillermo del Toro, because he was in Death Stranding, because of course he was.
Yes.
In the inverted metaverse, people will be used to power crypto mining solutions. And there's Ready Player One, fuck yes.
Okay, it's time to move on. We're moving on.
Oh my god, Logan's Run.
I'm excited about these TikToks. We have a new segment.
Yeah, we have a new segment. Okay, sorry, I gotta like shake the... Whew. All right. Yeah, we got a new segment. Mad Watch. Let me do a little thing here.
That should do it. Look at that! Oh my goodness! Oh, look at that! I can't understand. Mad Watch! Mad Watch! Mad Watch! Oh, look!
Fantastic.
All right.
Yeah, so Mad Watch, you're gonna show us some TikToks here.
But you have something as well. Yes?
I just played it.
Oh, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to do screen share, and then I'll send you the?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So no, I have some TikToks here, just some stuff, because I'm on TikTok quite a bit, and I know you are very much not.
Right.
So I thought, famously not. You have a hard stance on that. So I thought I would bring some interesting TikToks that I've come across in the past week and share them on the show. There's really nothing else to it but that.
And so these will work for
audio. Yes, that was the main thing in selecting these, was that they work for audio.
Okay.
So yeah, the first one, I'm a little bit late on a holiday that just happened here, but I thought this was pretty good. It's from Jay Jordan. He's like a late night comedy writer.
Happy President's Day or whatever, but don't ever forget that 12 U.S. presidents owned slaves. That is 26%. And that is why we are offering you 26% off this Monday only at Mattress Firm.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Did you see the thing yesterday, the CNN thing?
No.
Let me see. Please have the video. Oh, here we go. So yesterday, CNN was playing some footage of the air raid sirens.
Oh, this is the commercial that yeah, I saw this. This is great.
Going off.
I mean, it's horrible, but it's
air raid sirens going out in Ukraine, and then they cut.
And a little bit of chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's even worse because it's that it's not just a regular commercial. It's one of those picture-in-picture commercials where you still have the air raid going on a smaller screen while the Applebee's commercial's happening. It's
it's
rough.
a fucking Super Bowl, man. Hell
This is like end times here. This is brutal.
The bombs are dropping. We got to sell these fucking chicken fritters.
Oh man, Applebee's on a date night, I'll tell you. Speaking of date night, I do have a few TikToks here that would fit under the category of dating is dead, but I kind of lumped them in here.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So I came across this one. I don't know how this ended up on my For You page, but this is a compilation of old Christian dating videos. You'll just have to listen to it here. It's from @GrimeyGhost. And the reason especially that I chose this is because there's a surprise piece of attire that one of the people is wearing in this that you'll appreciate.
Guys and girls are different.
We know guys and girls are different.
They're just different completely.
No doubt about it. Guys and girls are different.
It's not that guys don't have emotions. They'd rather go punch something.
He doesn't understand because I'm a girl and he doesn't understand.
You know how all the guys like sag and stuff? The other day I told him, pull up your pants.
Whoa, this is very cool.
A lot changes when you go into the dating thing.
We met on a blind date and I couldn't stand him.
So, you want to impress a girl.
So what do you say?
If we were at McDonald's, you'd be McGorgeous.
These hormones make you want to have sex all the time. They got the testosterone factory working overtime. And a girl touches them and they start thinking one thing. Zach.
Oh, good gravy.
Be very careful about the way you use touch in a relationship.
He's always real comfortable looking, and I'm not.
Here's a radical idea. Try just being brave. Can all that lovey-dovey stuff. Just be yourself.
Guys and
he said hormones. It sounded like he said homos.
That would have been a Freudian slip. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. But did you see the Mario Lemieux jersey?
Yeah.
Classic.
The Snoop Dogg diagonal.
It's back in trends. It looks like their third jersey now. But yeah, I thought that was something. Careful, girls, about the way you use touch, because it'll cause those hormones to erupt, and you never know what'll happen.
Punch something.
Yeah, I just want to punch something. Anyway, to pivot hard off of that, there's a very good feminist writer slash commentator on TikTok. Username is Perks of Being HC. And I saw this one, and because you've talked about how you are on OkCupid, and you sort of think that's one of the better platforms for online dating. Right? Yeah. Okay. So this is a really good point here made by this TikToker.
I'm not gonna like go to bat for OkCupid.
Well, no, but in so you'll see. Yeah. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I'm going to show you why OkCupid is better than the other common dating apps out there, or really why any of the dating apps that have a questionnaire feature are better than those that don't. I haven't been on any dating apps in somewhere between a year and about 18 months, but when I was on them, I was on all of them. And I came across the account of a man who essayed me on all of them. So I saw all of his bios, and the only one that gave away anything was OkCupid because of the questionnaire. So the way that works is that you answer a question for yourself, and then you select one or more answers that would be appropriate for a potential partner, and list how important their answer is to you. Asked, do you give in easily when pressured? He said yes, and I said no. But both of our answers are coming up pink, which means that we both said the other person's answer was a deal breaker. So when he filled this out, he indicated that he considered it to be a negative, if not a deal breaker, if a woman does not give in easily when pressured. Do you see the problem with that? If you let people talk for long enough, they'll give themselves away. Be safe out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to have. Mm-hmm. You know, it's these sort of questions that would trigger a red flag immediately, and you can sort of filter them in and out. Which,
like she explained, you can you answer questions, and you can then select the answers that you would accept, and then also give that level of importance.
And in this example, giving in when pressured is obviously a red flag, for pretty obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. For another one here, we'll just play this. This is so what happened here. This is like a coffee shop or something, and the man involved here, he said something, I'm assuming quite misogynistic, like right before the starting of filming here of the TikTok. And he ends up, in trying to defend himself, he ends up like doing a self-own, which is pretty good.
Why is it okay for women to say, oh, you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead? That's okay?
Who said that to you here? Nobody.
Women in general have said it on dating sites. You think I'm making that shit up? Everywhere I go, I get the same fucking smirk with the biting lip. Shut your mouth. You're not God or my father or my boss. Dude, you want to step outside? You want to step outside? Huh? I'm not scared of you, pal. No. You shut up, too. No. Go ahead and attack.
I'm sorry, we just got booted from Facebook again. I apologize.
This is really old.
Is it? Oh, you've seen this before?
Yeah, this is like pre-pandemic.
Oh, okay. Well, I just figured.
This is the bagel boss.
I figured this guy wouldn't be wearing a mask either way, so I didn't know it was pre-pandemic. No, this is the first time. It just happened to be on my page, and I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, it's the bagel boss.
Oh, okay. So he's got a name.
Yeah. You're not God or my father or my boss.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of like ranking there of the people that he respects most.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like unprompted to talk about how women make fun of him for being short on dating apps. Yeah. So one more here from the whole dating side. So you have a record player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice little vinyl collection. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm wondering if you've ever tried anything like this.
Hey, baby girl, thanks for coming over. You know, I'm kind of thinking of putting on some music to get in the mood. I collect vinyls. I kind of want to spin one for you. It's called, you might have heard of it, Actual Business Letters Dictated at Various Speeds.
Upholstery design. Starlight contains a special chemical
what you hear?
ingredient that
Let that shit
filters out
spin, girl.
the rays of the sun.
Yeah, over Thanksgiving, my dad was going through my grandfather's records. And my grandfather had something that was like called like soothing tones for the tired businessman or something like that. Okay. I don't know. There was some bizarre stuff.
The early days of ASMR.
Yeah, it was strange. And then there was another one that was just like, it was like some kind of big band record or like some kind of like barbershop whatever. And well, first of all, the copy of all those records is bizarre on the back. Like there's just so much text. Like I don't know how they were able to write so much. There was like a guy on the, like one of the people in the band that was like named like Bob Hoagie or something. Just like the most ridiculous old timey names, you know. Or was it like Hoagie Johnson? I don't know, something like that. Somebody was named Hoagie. And they were like going through the history of the band or like music or something. And then, since it was like from the 50s, it was going to be like, it was like, the 1910s. It's like, well, Great War. And then it like got to the 30s and it's like, well, it was a war again. Oh like it was just like, okay. It's like, yeah, I think everybody would know. Like I don't know why it was like recapping like early 20th century history on the back of this record. It was really strange stuff.
And also you could probably find a war no matter where you are in history.
Yeah.
So
it was like, well, it was war again and Bob Hoagie was doing his thing.
Yeah.
It was just like weird way to frame this music. But yeah.
Now, would you have like a go-to record on hand if you're in this situation?
I don't know. It seems very pretentious. Like I feel like it would be a better call to be like, hey, you want to listen to something? Why don't you put on something?
Yeah, you
like,
choose, right?
Yeah, like not hand the aux cord as you do, right?
There you go.
You know? Like yeah.
Right,
otherwise it seems very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because you pick something and then it falls flat and then it's like, fuck.
Do we continue to keep listening to it or do we shift gears?
Yeah, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe some of the vinyl collectors make that too big of a part of their like personality. Yeah. You know? So
ooh, I'll show you this obscure gem. It's called the Beatles.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to go to the and we talked about this last week a little bit, but the trucker convoy.
Yeah.
So there's this guy on TikTok, Walter Masterson. He goes to like these right-wing protests and stuff, and he sort of like he asks them some leading questions. Like he's pretty much just there to troll them. But I feel like the responses in these videos really point to something that I feel like it's not talked about enough. So we'll just play it first.
So is this like Channel 5?
I'm not sure. What do you mean? Like, was this broadcast on TV?
No, there's a YouTube channel called Channel 5, and they go to like protests and like strange events, and they just kind of let these people talk, and they sort of like show their whole ass.
Right. Yeah, this is very similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
To stop the socialist agenda, we need to get rid of these big pharma companies like Pfizer and Moderna.
Yeah, that's right. You know what?
Amazon, we need to get rid of Amazon if we want to stop the socialist.
Taxes are enough. And we don't revolt. We eat poutine. We drink maple syrup.
You guys need to fight for your freedom because there is an underlining agenda that's going on. I don't know how much you know. I'm not going to get into that.
The workers need to unite against socialism. The workers of the world need to unite and seize the means of production and everything. Thank you. What do you think are some things we can do to fight the socialist agenda?
Love, truth. We have to hold a line, put our foot on the ground, and say enough is enough.
The real root cause of the socialist agenda is the banks.
Yeah.
The big banks.
Yeah.
The big banks through big pharma, big tech.
Big media.
Big media.
I'm out of here because we're done. If we lose this fight, this country's over. Canada's always been a socialist type of country.
You've been living under socialism for a long time because of the health care.
Oh yeah, because of the health care, and they sneak it in here, they sneak it in there. Everybody gets used to it. Now everybody woke up, like heavily woke up.
What's the socialism like? It's like you want to see a doctor, and then you see a doctor, and then like they don't charge you.
It's not that great of a system, guys. I mean, if you had a car accident or your emergency, it's fast.
Because it's a socialist healthcare system. They call it like a triage thing.
Sort of, yeah.
It's what we have in there. It's like, you want to pay to see the doctor, you pay to see the doctor.
Exactly.
So like, I can pay to see the doctor right away.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to wait and do this like socialist triage system like they have in Canada. You think these insurance companies are part of the socialist agenda?
Oh, for sure, 100%. It's always the same cliques making the money. You can have cars doing 50 miles to the gallon a long time ago. Trust me, a long time ago.
The automotive industry is definitely part of the socialist agenda.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're all in bed together. It's all, who pays the bill? Us.
Us, the consumer, the taxpayer.
Consumer, the taxpayer, the middle class. We always get the bill.
So like obviously with this one the questions are very leading. But there are ones where like you said, they'll just like go on and contradict themselves all on their own.
Right.
But it's like with this, I think and I have another one too. But it's like I feel like a lot of the people on the right that are in like the working class, the values that they hold are not, it's not like they're on a fundamental level against something like socialism. It's just that the propaganda on the right, on like the far right, has like taught them that everything that everything that they hate or everything that they don't benefit from is because of socialism, even though it's the exact opposite, right?
Yeah, they get so close. They get so close to being there, like having the right point. Like that's what you see. It's like QAnon. They hate the Clintons. It's like, yeah, you should, but you hate them for the weirdest reason,
Yeah.
It's like the same thing all over. It's like, yeah, you should hate these large corporations, but not for the reasons that you think you should.
Yeah, so like they're disgruntled for valid reasons, but because of like the news outlets that they watch and the articles they read, they've sort of they believe that the people at fault are actually the people that are trying to like make change for the better, which is unfortunate. Like I think this one here, this video from the same person is an even better example of that.
You're a truth seeker and a truth speaker?
Oh yeah. I get censored on platforms and things like that. I mean, I've got taken off Instagram.
What happened on Instagram?
I talked about this.
Oh.
They didn't like it. I talked about some missing books in the Bible that were found under the Vatican. They didn't like that. It was one of those.
If we want to stop the socialist agenda, we need to get rid of the Vatican, correct?
Yeah, I can't believe how much went on there. I didn't know. I grew up as a Catholic.
So big pharma needs to go if we want to stop the socialist agenda.
We need to stop them.
Amazon needs to go if we want to stop the socialist agenda.
Did Jeff Bezos just step down?
What are some things we can get rid of in order to fight the socialist agenda?
Get rid of Amazon.
Get rid of Facebook.
Get rid of Facebook. Let's get rid of Netflix. Let's get rid of Hulu.
Do you agree that we need to sort of get rid of Pfizer and Moderna and all these big pharma companies if we want to stop the socialist agenda?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The people who are running the show here are highly, highly invested in these companies.
Yeah. You're a truth seeker and a truth...
Yeah. Netflix and Hulu, huh?
Yeah, that kind of came out of left field. But the rest of it, the rest of it lines up perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just frustrating because I feel like so many people are essentially brainwashed, and it's like they have the right ideology, but they're just putting it in the wrong direction. Yeah. But to get away from that, I just have one more. This is from a philosopher, Rodney D. Norman, pretty popular over on TikTok. And he's somebody you can look to if you're feeling a little bit lost in your life. You're just looking for answers or some sort of direction. Okay. So I felt like
kind of
a guru. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I felt like this was a nice way to end the segment. Potentially the one and only time we do this segment. We'll have to see. But yeah, here he is. Here are the wise words of Rodney D. Norman.
Sometimes you end up getting where you want to go and then find out when you get there that you don't want to be where you're at. And then you feel like this is all just a waste of time. But just remember, if you never got there, then you'd always be wanting to get there, and then you don't know you don't want to be there until you get there. So sometimes you just got to go where you don't want to go, just to know that that's not where you want to be. Okay. That was super freaking awesome rest of your day and stuff. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it came for me. It came at a time when I needed it the most.
Yeah?
Yeah, it really did. I was scrolling the For You page. I didn't quite know which direction I wanted to go. And then I saw...
Up or down?
No, on more of like an existential level. And then I encountered Rodney D. Norman, and he sort of guided me. Yeah.
That was like the Kamala Harris soundbite.
I'm not familiar.
She's like, we need to do the things that we've always done and that we are.
See, to me, this brought me right back to my intro to philosophy course.
Oh, yeah.
In college, where it's like finding the proof of God, right? And you have all these logic statements that sort of like you have to keep track of one after the other. And it's like I feel like Rodney's doing that here to us. You know, he's sort of like doing the double negatives and all that. But I feel at the end of it, it's a very nice piece of advice.
I had a lot of philosophy classes in college. I had one that was called Philosophy of Religion, which I had to take. It was taught by the oldest man I think I had ever seen. He could barely walk. I think he could barely stand. But boy, holy fuck, could he could yell. And I think he might have had dementia or something going on, because he only ever gave one lesson. And it was basically that we know God exists because of the phrase holy, holy, holy. And he would shout that, holy, holy, holy. And that was about it. And so I had to, for the final, I had to bullshit an essay. And so, of course, I repeated that lesson. I got an A on the class.
Oh, it's terrific.
The class was basically a study hall because he would just keep giving that same lesson, and I could just kind of sit in the back and do other work while he was doing that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very strange. Oh, also, it was an open book final.
Oh, those are always welcome.
From the book that he didn't really use. Very strange class.
My one philosophy professor would not permit anybody to bless him after he sneezed, because it went against his whole philosophy on the matter.
See, I think this shows the difference, because I went to a Catholic school, and you very much didn't.
Yeah, that's very true. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, we were still looking for proofs of God, but you couldn't bless somebody if they sneeze. So
yeah, I had more conventional philosophy classes. That was not one of them. Yeah, that was very strange.
By the way, before we leave this this trash fire of a segment here, I had one video, and it's something that I put down in the what we're thinking about, because I've been thinking about it, not this video specifically, but the show as a whole this week. Big Brother Celebrity Edition. I'm sorry to bring up Big Brother again, but the third installment of Celebrity Big Brother, which was a show that was resurrected from the dead. Everybody thought it was canceled because there hadn't been a season in like 4 years. But I guess ratings wise, the regular...
Well, they stopped making celebrities.
There was a big... they wanted to get Shaq, but he said that he didn't qualify.
Yeah. These celebrities, they keep quitting.
I know. But so it happened. This past week especially was a bit of a tough time. It was referred to by some as Big Brother Hell Week, because in 4 days, 4 nights in a row on CBS prime time, there were 6 hours of Big Brother content.
You know, anybody could do anything else with that time.
Oh, for sure. I would argue that the producers of the show could do anything else with that time.
Oh, no, because I was including them. Yeah.
Yeah, because let me tell you, there were 6 hours of content. nothing happened. Sure. Nothing happened. Like for example, just one example, probably my favorite duo of the celebrities on the show this season was Lamar Odom, which I've talked to you about his antics, and Todd Bridges, who you might remember as a child star. I don't know why I say you would remember him because this show aired before we were born, but you know the phrase "what you talking about, Willis"? Yeah. So he's Willis. Yeah. So those are my two favorites on the show this season, and the one segment from one of the 2-hour episodes, one of multiple 2-hour episodes this past week. Included Todd and Lamar sitting on a couch with a blood pressure reader, and they were competing to see who could have the lower blood pressure reading between the two. Yeah, so we spent a segment on that. There was also a segment about aliens, which I wanted to share with you here.
I'm trying to do my tree.
Oh, ancestry?
Yeah, but it's hard because my mom's parents came from the Azores in Portugal, and I can't go back too far after I get to Portugal.
I found out that I'm related to the pharaohs of Egypt.
So you mean to tell me your people's are pharaohs?
Yeah.
They were connected with the aliens.
Who? The Egyptians?
Yeah. I mean, if you do your history, the Egyptians had a connection with interterrestrial life. How the hell they built the pyramids?
It's called technology smart. They were smarter than we were.
They didn't have no cement.
They did, they made it.
Lamar.
I mean, you just have to believe there's so many planets, and so I would think that there's so much space that there might be, different beings occupying that space. Tell me this then, since you know it all, Todd. Why'd they cut the noses off the Sphinx?
I don't know, that's crazy.
Because it exposed it to aliens.
Fell off, dude. They fell off, homie. No one cut that off.
Yes, they did.
Why you messing with me, homie?
You ain't study, boy.
They didn't have any cement.
No, it's not cement. It's cement. And that was great. Todd, one of his comebacks there was it's called technology smart.
Yeah.
Which I love. These two were the saving grace of the show. It was a rough 3 weeks of Big Brother celebrity. The two people that made it to the final two and the winner eventually, they were the most disliked people in the house by all the fans and everything. So there was nobody to root for. But Lamar was by far the most entertaining. He clearly, when he signed on to do this, had never seen Big Brother before or knew how it worked. And I'm assuming he also did not, in the time between being recruited for the show and coming on the show, do any research into it.
Did you think it was a real world situation?
Well, that I'm not sure of either, because they have the diary room sessions where you talk to producers and that, you basically voice your feelings about what's happening. And he said that until about a week left in the season, he did not know that those were used on the TV broadcast. He was like, I just thought that was for them to have
as feedback
or just, insight.
Did he think he was a producer?
No, I think he knew he was on the show, but he also had to ask his other house guests many, many times how all the competitions worked. And at one point he was like, if you get evicted from the house, can the jury members still vote for you to win?
I mean, hasn't that happened before?
Okay, technically, they've had sort of battle back competitions where you get evicted. Yeah. But I really don't think that's what Lamar meant. He thought you could be evicted, go home, and then on finale night, they still vote for the winner out of the entire pool of people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, that might spice things up.
I'll tell you, this season, we could have used anything to spice it up because it was a struggle. But I really enjoyed Lamar Odom. In the beginning, it seemed like his entire purpose was to have a platform to say that he wants to get back with his ex-wife, Khloe Kardashian. And the show really abided this because it gave him 2 separate segments this season of where he's talking about how he really messed up with her and he would love to have a second chance and he loves her so much. So yeah, if that's what he came for, he definitely accomplished.
Is he back together with her?
Oh, I just mean his attempts, like his attempt to get the word out.
I'm gonna say, wow, that really worked, huh? Wow, I didn't know she was a big fan of the show.
No, we haven't gotten any confirmation on that part yet. But yeah, so there was that. And then there was also, I had one other Big Brother related thing I wanted to mention because I thought it was really pretty amazing. So Big Brother Canada is starting up next week. I know. I'm very, very excited though, because Big Brother Canada is my favorite iteration of Big Brother. And it's
really Big Brother Brazil isn't on your radar, or?
Well, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So it could be great for all I know.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But yeah, I love Big Brother Canada. And it's going to be a nice change of pace from this dumpster fire of a celebrity season.
Are they holding it at the Ram Ranch?
No, and I do hope that all the house guests can get there without being blockaded or anything like that. No, so the cast, excuse my voice cracked there. The cast, I'm just so excited. The cast information was revealed this week. So we got like the bios of the cast members and everything, which is always exciting. And there was one name that caught everybody off guard, and there's a bit of a story behind it. So last season, when they released the cast info, immediately there was backlash because one of the house guests that was set to be on the show has a problematic past. And as soon as it became known that he would be on the show, people that knew him personally came out online and said, this guy has said and done some bad shit. And then some video surfaced that proved that. And so he was swiftly removed before the season even began.
This was last year.
This was last year. So this guy was removed. We never saw him. Instead, he was replaced with an alternate by the name of Kyle Moore. Okay. And so the obsessed, Big Brother fans on social media, they immediately see this.
Doxed him.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. They're excited. They wanted to look up and see if there's any info
incriminating.
No. They were coming at it from like, we want to see who this guy is. We just want to. So they found a Twitter profile of Kyle Moore with a picture that looked pretty similar to the one that's, on the Big Brother Canada page. And so people started messaging this Twitter profile. And they're like, welcome to the Big Brother family. Congratulations on making the show, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. Right. So after about a day or so, Kyle Moore comes on Twitter, this Twitter profile, and he's like, I don't know what any of you guys are talking about. I've never heard of Big Brother before. I think you're mistaken here. It turns out that the Twitter fans the Big Brother fans had the wrong Kyle Moore.
Sure. Sounds like a very common name.
Yeah. So they had the wrong guy. It was a different Kyle.
Yeah.
But this Kyle Moore springboarded off of this and started getting involved in the Big Brother community. Like he became a fan of the show after this happened, right?
Oh my God.
And so he started he went on a podcast, like a Big Brother podcast that's pretty popular. He got into it. No, he became a fan of the show.
No, everybody's got to build a brand now, man.
Yeah, so Twitter people as a joke, like an inside joke, they refer to him as like the real Kyle Moore, right?
Sure.
And the one on the show is like the fake one. So now cut to a year later, and we have the cast info for the new season of Big Brother Canada. And would you believe it? But he is on Big Brother Canada season 10, which I think is very funny. Because there's definitely a difference between because Big Brother Canada has a much smaller viewership than the US version does,
right.
And the producers seem more tuned into like what the obsessed fans online are saying and how they feel and stuff like that. Whereas the US Big Brother production could not care any less. So this is like an intentional piece of casting here because the guy does seem like a genuinely nice person. So I just think it's pretty cool that this guy's going to be on the show now after this mishap happened.
Doesn't that kind of stack the deck though? Because
well, that's the thing I'm curious about. Like, I don't know how much of this they're going to show on the TV broadcast. Like, I don't know how they frame this. I don't know how they sort of.
But aren't there like fan votes for shit?
Yeah, they've sort of moved away from that. Like, they're definitely earlier on, like in earlier seasons, they relied heavily on fan votes, but they've sort of moved away from that recently. I don't expect it to really interfere with the game very much. They will have to explain why there has been a person named Kyle Moore in 2 consecutive seasons of Big Brother Canada.
Sounds like a very common name. Because when you said the name, I was like, what, is that a hockey player that I'm forgetting? Like, it's just sounds very... Yeah.
Right. But yeah, and also I do think, even though the Twitter and social media fan base of Big Brother is very vocal, I do still think they're in the minority. Like, it's a small but vocal community, right? So if there is like a fan vote of some sort, like for instance, America's favorite player for Celebrity Big Brother, there was a big campaign all across Twitter and Reddit to get this one person to become America's favorite. And ultimately it failed. Somebody else won instead. So like the reach only goes so far, right? I just think it's a fun casting story that I wanted to share. Okay, clearly you are not entertained.
I just think it's overzealous fans creep me out.
I mean, is it overzealous just to like look up a guy's Twitter profile and see what he's posted because he's going to be on the show?
Well, then you contact him.
Well, it's more just like, it wasn't anything malicious. It was just like, hey, congratulations.
I think the goal was to see if he had done some weird shit.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that's necessarily bad, because if he was like a Nazi, you know, then you don't want him to have a spot on a show. But like, just the fact that is like the instinct is to go find that person immediately.
I mean, I'll admit the Big Brother fan base, like the diehards, can be quite
that's
can
just
be quite
weird
ruthless.
Fan culture.
Yeah. So like, for example, like Todrick Hall was on the Celebrity season, and he's one of the 2 that made it to the finals, and he's a piece of shit. Like, he is racist, misogynist, just like puts down people all the time. Like, he's just not a good person.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, you're better off.
What's his name? Todrick?
Todrick Hall, yeah. And
Todrick.
Yeah, he's like, I think he was on Drag Race for a period of time. He's done like The Masked Singer. He's done the rounds as far as like reality TV. But yeah, he like sucks. And he basically has gone off the grid after the season ended because you know the Big Brother fans are giving it to him.
Yeah.
And I think to a degree, rightfully so, but also like people can get carried away online. Like, he deserves to be called out on the shit that he said, but at the same time, like, I know the Big Brother fan base, and they can really flood the DMs, you know? So if somebody's problematic on the show, they're going to hear about it. That's what it comes down to. Okay.
But we should wrap this.
Yeah, we should wrap it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it, especially if you stick it through all the bullshit that I edit out vigilantly week to week. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at DeadEndRoad. You could give me sarcastic remarks about you liking the show that I can't interpret or understand. Check out the Facebook at facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV, where I cannot pay for advertisements because I say fuck. And check out the Twitch at twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV, where I have to stream raids later tonight. Fucking Christ. Ugh. And I want to stream Elden Ring because I want to play that fucking game. And do a YouTube search for DeadEndRoad TV. Check out the clips. And as always, you can email us anything at all, video@deadendroad.co. And if you have the time, please give us a rating if your podcast app allows you to do so. It would really help us out. All right, that's going to do it for us. We will see you next week with a regular show, at the very least. Yeah, that's it. See you next time.